And here on this map we have the amounts of nitrogen and phosphorus. The phosphorus is green and nitrogen is yellow, which comes to the Baltic Sea from different countries. As we can see, Sweden, Finland and Poland are Poland first of all are the biggest donors of phosphorus and nitrogen input into the Baltic Sea. Polish authorities are quite tricky because very often they try to calculate this total amount per capita or per hectare of 1 hectare of Poland's farmland, which is very tricky because when we calculate this in that way, of course we have smaller number, but it doesn't change anything because still Poland, for example, is the biggest donor of in total of nitrogen and phosphorus. So actually for the Baltic Sea it's only important how much of those biogenes came into the Baltic Sea from particular country. It doesn't matter how is this big amount calculated per capita, per hectare, or just in total. And if we look for different sources of phosphorus and nitrogen that came into the Baltic Sea, this dark green color represent also agriculture. Yes, so it's really very big donor of nitrogen and phosphorus to the Baltic Sea waters. Yeah, and for example, here are more detailed data for Sweden, which also show that in Sweden the main donor of the main source of nitrogen and phosphorus is agriculture activity. And on these pictures we can see what is the exact source of both phosphorus and nitrogen waterborne inputs to the Baltic Sea, and it's very clear, yeah, that we have two, let's say, hotspots, maybe three. It's South Baltic with Gulf of Gdańsk, it's Gulf of Riga and Gulf of Finland. Especially on this second picture you can see how big a problem is the Vistula River for the Baltic Sea, which gave enormous nitrogen input to the Baltic Sea. Maybe I will just skip that. Okay, so I will just, because here we have just still some numbers about how this level of nitrogen and phosphorus inputs change in the time. But I think it's also important to say why industrial farming is so important when we speak about eutrophization. So first of all, 50 to 80% of nitrogen pollution comes from runoff water from areas used for agriculture. Urban and industrial wastewater are still the main source of water pollution with phosphorus, but only in countries where there are no widely used removing nutrients from wastewater. So, for example, for Sweden and Finland, phosphorus will be, agriculture will be also the main source of phosphorus pollution. And this is also a very nice picture which shows which regions of the Baltic Sea are the most affected with eutrophization. As you can see, the green and blue color, light blue color, shows places where untouched, let's say, by eutrophization, And these yellow and dark red colors show places where eutrophisation is a serious problem. And again, we have here the Gulf of Finland and also Gulf of Riga, and vicinity of Huma and Saaremaa Islands are also very affected by the eutrophisation. This is also connected with the farmlands acreage. As we can see, the South Baltic is the south part of and east part of the Baltic Sea catchment area are the main places where farmlands is located. And then we can try to do very simple calculation if we can see what is the exact input of a particular farm, let's say, to the eutrophisation. So let's say that we have an IPPC farm with 2,500 productive pigs, which are the pigs with more than 30 kilos. And that gives 125 animal units. So if we assume that one animal unit means 0.18 kilogram of nitrogen per day and 0.053 kilo of phosphorus per day, we have more than 22 kilos of nitrogen per day produced by this farm, and nearly 7 kilos of phosphorus produced by this farm per day. And then we can assume that productive pig gives approximately 3 times more excrement than humans, and that means that IPPC farm with 2,500 productive pigs is equivalent to a small town with 7,500 people without any sewage treatment plant. Yeah. So just to give some information how dangerous those numbers are, input of 1 kilo of nitrogen, just nitrogen, we don't say about phosphorus, into water reservoirs causes creation of about 16 kilos of biomass. Yeah, so that shows how big problem is it just for this one particular quite small farm, quite small IPPC farm. And there is also some picture from Poland which show how many fields are fertilized. Those are just manure in the field. Thank you.
Aitäh väga huvitava ettekande eest. Mina olen Katrin Rannik Põllumajandusministeeriumist. Mul on repliigi korras vahele öelda üks informatsioon, mida võib-olla kõik ei tea, ilmselt ka mitte esineja, et Eestis on IPPC farmide nimekirjas ka veisefarmid ja neid on juba alates umbes 300 loomühikust, mida loetakse IPPC farmideks. Lisaks ma ei ole nõus väitega, et suured farmid on kindlasti suuremad reostajad, sest kuna nende üle toimub rohkem ja tugevam kontroll ja lisaks on neil kohustus rakendada IPPC farmidena ka parimat võimalikku tehnikat. Ma tahtsin öelda, et Eestis on 164 IPPC farmi hetkel ja neist enamik on loomulikult veisefarmid. Lisaks ma tahtsin küsida, et probleemidest räägiti palju, aga mis oleksid lahendused suurte farmide reostuskoormuse vähendamisel? Aitäh!
Thank you for this question. Well, actually, unfortunately, I was able only to reach the half of the presentation. So sorry for that. I was not very good in the time calculation. But actually, there are a couple very simple ways of solution of preventing the industrial farms' negative impact to the Baltic Sea. Well, the most important, in my opinion, are first of all, full implementation of the Helsinki Convention. Like I said, in many cases, revisit Annex 3 to the Helsinki Convention is not in force in many countries. It has place not only in Poland, but also, for example, in Germany. Yeah? So it's not only the problem of new EU members, but also the old one. The second thing is, you said about this industrial farm, that they are maybe not main problem for the Baltic Sea, because they are obligated, of course, to implement a number of different soft law and this let's say hard law regulation. But still, we have great problem with monitoring and control of those farms. Yeah? For example, and I know that it has place in many countries, not only in Poland also, but for example, in Finland, yeah, also is a problem. So, of course, they are obligated to reach very high standards of environment protection. But in many cases they just don't do that, and many authorities of many countries just don't monitor and control those farms properly. So it's the problem. Here we have problem. Yeah? The other thing is, well, the way of solution for this problem is of course introduction of other air quality standards in all European Union. We have some one legal act connected with that, but actually it's not legally enforced, let's say. And the other thing is promotion of different biotechnological methods of manure utilization, for example, biogas production. Of course, for biogas production, maybe it's not very good example, because it just doesn't solve the problem of nutrients, but it solves problems of odors, for example. So it's just in very short.